Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome everybody to our June regularly scheduled meeting of the Clay County Board of Education. We'll go ahead and get everything started, and I'll entertain a motion that we approve the agenda as it was emailed to everyone.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Ms. Coffey.
I'll second it.
Ms. Beck, all in favor?
Aye.
And I think we do have some public comment this evening. Is that right?
Yeah.
To the podium, please.
Good evening. I'm Laura Kleiss-Heft, and I am the replacement at the Chamber of Commerce from Pam Roman, who you all know. And so I'll be picking up that position as the executive director. I have just left 12 years of teaching, and so I'm eager to connect, obviously, with the school system and the school board. I think already we've seen that connection with your career and technical education program. And we have a student working at the Chamber of Commerce with us. We hope to have another young folk join us from the high school in the near future. As a teacher in the 8th grade classroom, you know, it was always very discouraging for me when you had students that were saying, you know, I can't go to college, there's nothing left for me. And I think that, you know, as an 8th grade teacher, I found that always very frustrating that they had already labeled themselves as, you know, not knowing what the possibilities of their future could be. So on behalf of the Chamber, we're very excited to reconnect and continue our relationship with the Career and Technical Education program, and we look forward to engaging our almost 300 members with how we can connect with those young folks. It's important to me, I know, as a ex-teacher. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming and introducing yourself. Thank you. Next, we have our high school student athlete recognitions. Mr. Coles, want to do those for us?
Yes, members of the board. We actually have several students to recognize. Obviously, this year the COVID schedule for sports was quite a bit challenging, and we actually still had sports going on right up until very recently. And so Mr. Cottrell, our high school athletic director, is going to kind of lead this section, but we also have some of our coaches that have come to recognize their own outstanding athletes.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having us. This is a great thing you guys are doing, and I know you've really enjoyed watching these young people perform this year. It's been an adverse year for sure, and we're just really blessed to have these type of kids in our program, and we want to make sure we honor them tonight. The first one is from wrestling, and I'll let Coach Monica come up and talk about Mason Cook and say a little bit about him, and then we'll move to our golf, which would be Brian Head.
Thank you. Mason, come on up here. Mason exhibits hard work, dedication, determination. Coaches everywhere look for a character kid such as Mason. I've been really fortunate to work with him for 4 years. Mason was conference champion this last year as a freshman. He lost in what's called the blood round, which is the one match from the state qualifier. Mason again fought hard to be conference champion. He did it again this year by pinning his opponent in a dramatic fashion. Mason came up 2 points shy of qualifying for the state tourney this year. But I look for great things to come from Mason. He's determined, he's highly motivated, and he's a great representation of the student athlete. Really proud to be a part of it. Thanks.
Mason, if you'll kind of hang around with everyone else, and we'd like to have all the athletes come around and shake the hands of the board members when we're finished. Yes, sir.
All right. I'll start with men's golf. We'll start with the bottom. We'll work our way to something better. In our men's golf, we had Seth Hedden here, my son, but anyway. He was one of 6 golfers that earned all conference honors in the Smoky Mountain Conference this year. He qualified to play in the 1A and played in the 1A West Regionals. He actually shot a score that under any other year that I've taught or that I've coached, he would have made it to state. But due to COVID restrictions, they cut the field from 72 to 48, and so there's a bunch of normally qualifying scores that didn't get to participate in the state. But he did finish second overall for the most birdies in the round at regionals with 3. So he had a really good round, and as a sophomore, we're looking forward to him the next couple of years. With my girls team, they don't have a Smoky Mountain Conference tournament because we don't have actually enough participating schools in the Smoky Mountain Conference. But it did have 2 girls that did qualify through their scoring. There is a system that they're allowed to go through that we qualify them through what's called max preps, and they go that way. We had now Madison Logan, who I'll talk about her first. She's not here today. Also one of our former aviators. She's actually grounded in Tennessee. She flew her plane out to pick up a part for a meal, and she wasn't able to get back due to a thunderstorm. But Madison, she actually successfully defended her 1A, 2A West regional title, and that made her the first individual, whether men or women's, to win the regional title twice. She qualified for the state in, of course, each of her 3 years, and this year in state she finished 6th overall. Then we get to our senior, and definitely we're moving up from Seth here, to Jayla Stamey. Jayla actually in the 1A, 2A West regional, she finished runner-up. So she did it. So we had a 1-2 finish in the 1A, 2A West regional tournament. She has qualified for state each of her 4 years of eligibility, and she finished this year's state finals in 3rd place overall, making her the first HHS golfer, men or women's, to ever medal in a state golf tournament. She also, her 3-under score of 33 on the final 9 holes was the lowest 9-hole score by anybody in the 1A, 2A state tournament. And I went back and I did a little bit more digging. Of the 4 classification state titles that were held at the Pinehurst Complex, there was only one other person that scored a 33, and that was a guy in the 2A. So that round that she pulled off at the end was spectacular. So just anyway, but hats off to her. And this coming fall, right? This fall, she will be playing golf for Truett McConnell University.
Members of the board, I would just say that I've never been within throwing distance of a 33 in my life.
Me either. Our last honor is our Athletes of the Year. We do this yearly. It's a great honor to be recognized as Hazel High School's Athlete of the Year. We do a male and female Athlete of the Year. This year was particularly tough because we had a lot of great performances from a lot of different athletes. The head coaches decide this. They all get one vote. So this is how these votes turned out. We'll bring in our Athletes of the Year. We'll start with Lila. Yep. She is a 5-sport athlete, which is unheard of nowadays, and we're just amazed at how she excelled in all 5 sports. She started with cross country this year. She was all conference in cross country, moved to basketball, and was our starting point guard on our team as a sophomore in basketball. Then we got to see her on the softball field at center field most of the year, where she really excelled. Then, she also played volleyball earlier in the year because these sports are a little mixed up, and was a starter for them also. And then at the end of the year, she ran track for Hazel High School and excelled there also. So the coaches felt like she was a deserving Athlete of the Year this year, and I can't think of a more, a better citizen to have our Athlete of the Year than Lila Roberts. So congratulations, Lila. Our press release, this is brand new information. Our press release will be next week. We'll have a press release, we'll have a picture, we'll put it in the paper and on our website. So you're getting fresh news tonight. Our boys Athlete of the Year were co-athletes of the year, which happens occasionally, but we don't break that tie. If it's a tie, it's a tie, and that's the way we go with it. And we're excited about the way it worked out because both have earned this title this year. I'll start with Blake Mcclure, who is our second. This is his second year to be Athlete of the Year. He was Athlete of the Year as a junior. He played 3 sports. He was all conference in basketball and led us to a championship there, a conference championship. He was all state in football also, all conference in football also, and he excelled in track. So we're really excited about Blake's career here at Hayesville, and he's moving on to walk on and play at Appalachian State University for football team. So congratulations, Blake. Eli Roberts, who is, I don't know if you're her brother or she's your sister. It's unusual for sisters or brothers to be nominated or voted on the same year. He's a 3-sport athlete and excelled in all 3. He was an all-conference and a state qualifier in cross country. He was honorable mention all-conference and started for our basketball team on a championship team for basketball. And he also started at center field, second base, but also played shortstop, third base, pitcher, center field, left field. He was our utility guy in baseball, and he was all conference in baseball also. So we were very excited to honor both these young men as Hayesville High School Male Athlete of the Years. And again, our press release will be next week when Mr. Overland gets back, and we'll have a photo opt-in and put it out to the public. So thank you very much for having us. And you want to see the...
Well, I kind of wanted them to come, and they're hustling out, so... They're probably got a game they're waiting on.
Something to watch right here. 7 o'clock.
Yes. Yes. I don't think they could come now. Guys, if y'all could just come through and shake hands with the board members, please. Yeah. Great year, man. Great year. Awesome job. Great year. Nice job. Good job, Seth. 3 birdies. That's right. Thank y'all for coming. Okay, next, I'm going to call up Ms. Heather Clemens, who is the former Hayesville Middle School principal. She's currently in between schools because her official start date at Hayesville Primary School is on July 1st. But she is going to introduce a special representative for our school district this year.
All right, so I'm going to ask Miss Emily Mull to come on up here with me. And so Miss Emily Mull was not only our middle school teacher of the year, but she was, sorry, you're a little loud now. She went before a panel of her peers of previous teachers of the year and some other staff members, and they chose her as the Clay County Schools Teacher of the Year. So we are very proud of her for that, and it's always awesome to get to brag on awesome teachers. She's so much fun in the classroom. She's excellent at what she does. She's a master of her curriculum. And so I just look really forward to seeing what she does at the next level. So we'll go from here to the regional. So she's got some work to do this summer. There's a portfolio, and there's a lot of things that go into the next steps. But I couldn't think of anybody better to represent Clay County Schools than Miss Emily Mull. You want to say anything? I'm really happy that I was nominated for this very great recognition, and I will do my best to represent Clay County in the next level of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, again.
Congratulations.
Did you clean your Yes.
Everybody gets their handshake.
That's right.
Be careful of the cord.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
Good luck at regionals.
Oh, thank you.
And last, I asked our newest addition to the leadership team, Miss Jennifer Wallace, who is the new principal for Hayesville Middle School, just to come out and introduce herself to the board and the public. She was able last week to do the Mountain Mornings radio show with Mayor Harry Bond and Patrick. And so I got up early to listen to hear how that went. And she did a great job. I was really proud of her. But I wanted her to have an opportunity to just share a little bit about herself and what she's learned and appreciated so far about Clay County.
Thank you. So my name's Jennifer Wallace. I am the new principal at Hayesville Middle School. I grew up in Concord, North Carolina, which is right above Charlotte. But we've moved here, and we're in the process of moving here, and I love it. I already love the feeling, the mountains, the people. Everyone's been so nice. I actually went to get my master's in administration from Appalachian State, and I got my undergraduate from Lenore-Rhine. So I'm just always kind of leading back to the mountains, my heart is. I've had over 20 years of experience in education, from leading in the classroom to working as an instructional facilitator to working in administration. I'm just really excited about this upcoming school year. I'm hopeful to get all of this behind us and start afresh. I'm really passionate about growing students socially, emotionally, and academically, and really supporting teachers in that mission of educating students. On a personal note, my husband and I have two sons and 2 fur babies, so we're all excited about this move coming here and just trying new things. Like I've been on the radio already this past week, and I did some kayaking with the summer learning students. So I got on the water and did some kayaking earlier this week. So I'm all in it for just enjoying this, and I'm just so happy to be here and the opportunity to work for Clay County. So thank you.
Thanks, Wallace. Thank you. All right, and just last was an announcement that I wanted to make. A couple of weeks ago, Clay County Schools was notified by the National Boards Association that Clay County Schools is a National Board accomplished district. We are one of 79 districts to receive that recognition in the United States. That recognition comes from the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards. And that means that over 20% of our teachers have earned that recognition. That's a year-long process. It is not an easy process to get. I have been through that myself, and it was like going back to college again. And it requires a lot of evidence, submitting evidence, getting peer review from other teachers, National Board certified teachers from across the country. So it's a very rigorous process. And I included just an excerpt from the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards, just what it's all about. If you wanted to learn more, you can go to that website that is listed there. But the founding mission of the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards is to advance the quality of teaching and learning by the following: maintaining high and rigorous standards for what accomplished teachers should know and be able to do, providing a national voluntary system certifying teachers who meet these standards, and advocating related education reforms to integrate National Board certification in American education and to capitalize on the expertise of National Board certified teachers. Recognized as the gold standard in teacher certification, the National Board believes higher standards for teachers means better learning for students. And I agree with it. And it's important to remember that no one is forced to go through the National Board process. They volunteer to do it. And if they earn it, they do earn a percentage raise. It's a 12% raise on their salary. So it is worth their while to do the work, but they volunteer to do it. And I am hopeful that once we kind of get through this pandemic year, and maybe just through some initial professional development that we're going to have to do as we move towards the science of reading in K-5, which is going to be quite a bit of work, that even more of our teachers are going to volunteer to earn this certification. And my goal would be to get us to 30%. So I hope that we'll get there, and I have faith that our teachers will work towards that goal. So I wanted to make sure that the public and the board were aware of that. That's a huge milestone for us.
Could I just make a comment about that?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I am a National Board Certified teacher as well, and I understand and appreciate that process. It is a great honor for Clay County to be recognized for that. I appreciated, when I went through the process, I appreciated not only Clay County's support, the various teachers' support, and the state of North Carolina for providing that. It is an absolutely fantastic experience and a life-changing experience, not only professionally but personally as well.
I agree. And if you wanted to look at more, there is a couple of documents that I've loaded in the drive that show what other counties in the state earned this recognition as well, so you can just kind of see if you're curious.
Thank you for that. Thank you for your comments, Ms. Beck, as well. So next we'll move into the action section of the agenda for this evening, and we'll start that with Miss Emily Hedden, school-based mental health plan.
Hello, everybody. So myself and Quincy talked about the policy that NCDPI passed back, I think we came in February, earlier this year. So we started making our plan and moving toward what we needed to do as a district. And I know that you guys got a copy. He sent you the plan that we have, and I know there's a lot of red in it. But the red, you can see some of the dates are coming up. So the first one, and now that I'm the district social emotional coordinator, I've been in touch with NCDPI, and she recommended that our student support team do this core practices course as part of our plan. So the counselors, we're working through this course and getting through this course to get through to be part of this plan. So we're meeting this summer. So projectively, we should be finished by the end of summer before school starts with that. So that's the first part, the step one. The step two is our SHAPE survey, which is a school mental health quality assessment. Usually Melissa Cheek and Angel, they work on this. The counselors, we did kind of the initial assessment. It's a very long document. It's attached to this. And we have actually improved since last year. Our numbers it looked much better. So we're moving in the right direction. But they wanted that, so that's been completed and it's attached. The next step is the compelling why and the vision for SEL. Well, I kind of threw together the first draft because we have to complete these modules, and you should have that as well. But it has our compelling whys on it, why SEL is important, and the plan is to implement this. We already have the SEL curriculum you guys have seen, and it's K-8. And then the high school will use Suite 360 and Too Good for Drugs and Violence. So that's going to be their curriculum 9 through 12. Also, and Jennifer Wallace, the new principal, and I have discussed how to implement this. And I'm hoping that we can kind of be the model, the middle school will be the model for the other schools, because we're going to start with check-ins, daily check-ins. I don't know if you've discussed it with them, the Rhythm app.
Not yet.
But we've looked at the Rhythm app, and this is a daily check-in, and kids could just go in, and it's almost like emojis. And they go in every day, this is how I'm feeling. So when kids are flagged, counselors can go get those kids, make sure the day will start out on the right foot. So we'll do daily check-ins with that. And of course, now we have the DESA screener, which is a social emotional screener. So it's a universal screener, K-12. We're in the process. I've got to input every kid in our county into it. But we're going to try to pilot it on our kids at summer school to just see how it goes and then implement it this coming school year. So that'll kind of give us a basis of what is needed with social emotional, mental health. It kind of directs us in who needs that tier 2 support and even tier 3. So that will be starting, I hope, in July on our summer school kids. So that's kind of the SEL plan, so that was part of it. This will, of course, change. This is just kind of the rough draft of what it's going to look like. The next step was developing the professional staff. What are they called here? Oh wait, no, this one is the professional development. So last year we did the 6-hour resiliency training. So this year we only have to do 2 hours. So I've talked to Angel. There's a couple of things we're looking at, either a suicide prevention training or a trauma-informed training, and that will happen. I want all staff. This is all certified staff that has to do this training, and I would like for everyone to be completed by October. So that's if we do the suicide training, it will be at your own pace, and it's only 2 hours. And my goal is for everybody to be finished by October. If we do the other one, Angel had said possibly those work days in October, we could get that knocked out. So hopefully that'll be finished by October. In the next area, this is what I was talking about before, the specialized instructional support personnel. So we now have district SCL coordinator, district PBIS coordinator, and a district MTSS coordinator. And the MTSS coordinator is Heather Clemens, the SCL is myself, and PBIS is Melissa Cheek. And the licensed mental health therapist, which I'm hoping will be hired sooner than later, will also be a coordinator in the district of this. This should be finished by August, I would hope. It's just again, it's kind of a work in progress. But we have all these things in place on how we were going to refer kids, what we're going to be using, and that's part of that. And interventions we're going to be using, that of course is going to be pretty broad with interventions. So, but it will be through our MTSS team that would decide on that. And then the referral and follow-up, of course, we as a student support team staff kids that may need extra support, so we kind of have more heads together on what direction we should go with some of these kids. So we staff kids, and the counselors and their PLCs will staff children as well as needed with referrals, or if they need to be referred on out to services beyond our scope of reason. The next area is our suicide risk protocol, and that's linked there. That's the actual county suicide risk protocol. At the beginning of the school year, as counselors, we're going to go over this with all the teachers. There is a certain way, if a kid threatens suicide or is showing behavior, there's steps to get them help. So that has all of that information in it if you would like to read it. And then the MOU, and I saw that on were you able to get it today or within the next? So we're awaiting that when the hire happens for mental health, our school-based mental health.
It's with their lawyers.
Okay.
So once their lawyers draft one, they'll share it with me, and then I'll share it with our lawyer, and we'll work it out.
Yeah, great. So that's why this is kind of a work in progress. And then, of course, this has to be implemented by July 1. So good thing we had a school board meeting today. So I hope that it gets approved. Again, with this all being new, and I was talking to Mr. Cole about this when we met, we really checked all the boxes. It's just we haven't really put it down in paper. So this is kind of more of a black and white of what we have completed. And of course there's more to come, but overall I think we're moving in a really positive direction with social, emotional, and mental health. I think that this year, we're going to see a lot more issues and problems, but I think we have way more, we have a substantial amount more help that we can offer to kids. So, anybody have any questions? No.
Questions or comments? No? Well, if there's no questions, no comments or discussion, then I'll entertain a motion that we approve the Clay County Schools SEL and mental health plan as presented by Ms. Higgins.
Make a motion to approve.
Jones?
No, second it.
Ms. Beck, all in favor? Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate your help
Thank
and work
you.
on that. Thank you.
Yeah, I did want to point out, so I presented earlier in the year about the DESA Universal Screener for Social Emotional Learning. There are two versions of that. There's the DESA Mini and then the full DESA. The DESA Mini has about 15 questions and you can do it in about 10 minutes. So it is our plan as we kind of roll this out. We're going to try to put it in place and try it with our summer learning program kids when they come back after the July 4th break. In preparation for the fall, we're looking to do all of our transition grades. So we want to use the DESA Mini screener on our kindergarten students, our 3rd grade students, our 6th grade students, and our 9th grade students before we try to roll it out to everybody. And the idea is they do the DESA Mini. Based on the results of the DESA Mini, if some problem areas come out, then our counselors can come to those kids and implement the full DESA Universal Screener so we can get more data on specifically what they need help with. And that will direct our counselors, our school psychologists, and all of our other support staff, even the therapists that MAHEC is hiring in partnership with us. That will be a full-time therapist on our campus to work with our Tier 3 students. So those are kind of our big check-ins. We plan to do the DESA Mini screener at least twice a year, but we could do it every month if we needed to with kids that really have needs in order to measure the progress that hopefully our interventions are having in their mental health improvement. Then the second part of that is the Rhythm app, which is an app that we're purchasing using our ESSER funds that is downloadable. Well, actually, it'll be on every student's Chromebook. When they log in, it'll be one of the apps that pop up. And so each day they can do a check-in, and it just has 7 questions, and they answer all 7 of them by just selecting an emoji of like smiley face, happy face, whatever. And this app comes from research that shows that today's students, in the past, if you were told as a student that if you have if you have an issue, if you're angry, if you have something going on, then you need to go let your counselor know, which is great, except typically teenagers won't let anybody know anything, including, or maybe more so, their parents, and I'm the father of 3 teenagers. But what the research shows is that they will go on social media and share everything. And so the students are much more apt to log on to that app if they're given an opportunity every day. They will be honest about how they feel in each of those different frameworks. And just by selecting that emoji, then our counselors and our principals get a daily data sheet that shows which kids have selected something that maybe we need to check on. And that may be the difference in that kid's day. Hopefully we can take care of something before they get in a fight or before they do something else that would be negative for the school environment. So that's a little more detail about some of the parts in the plan. So I'm glad that the board approved that. I think we're moving in the right direction.
Will we have access to the instrument that's going to be used?
We can, yes, but not the student data.
No.
Yes, I can pull it up at a future meeting, maybe in July, and show you what it looks like. Right now, we actually don't have it yet.
I'd like to see that.
Okay, yes, we can do that.
Very good, thank you. Next, we have approval of the second step social emotional learning curriculum.
And members of the board, you have a handout in your packet that looks like this. If you wanted to flip through it, it's available online. We shared it as well with the public. This document is the actual full scope and sequence of the second step social emotional learning curriculum for grades K through 8. So you can go through and see lesson by lesson, unit by unit, what this curriculum teaches. We also, on the side table here in the boardroom, We have posted for public review that curriculum for the last 3 weeks and taken public feedback, and we have received no negative feedback on the curriculum. And remember that the state of North Carolina approved the CASEL standards as what they expect students in North Carolina to learn about social emotional learning. So the state approves standards, the local LEA approves curriculum. And so second step is a curriculum that aligns to the CASEL standards. And I think after a public review period with no negative feedback, the teachers have had an opportunity to review this as well as the counselors. What we are asking for is that the board approve this as our K-8 social emotional learning curriculum, actually beginning effective tomorrow.
Very good. Any questions or comments about the second step curriculum? If not, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the second step curriculum for our social emotional learning.
I will make that motion that we approve that.
Ms. Beck, all in favor? Or second?
I'll
Sorry.
second it.
Ms. Crawford, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, kind of keeping in line with all of that, with the Memorandum of Understanding with Communities for Schools.
Yeah, this is kind of the row of action items for our support program for our students. Another area of support that we've had for years in Clay County Schools that I rave about all the time is our partnership with Clay County Community for Students, which is they partner with the Board of Education as well as the Board of Commissioners in providing Ms. Teresa Waldrop as well as her employees and volunteers. They do a tremendous job for our students. And what I need is for the board to approve the Memorandum of Understanding for that partnership. I think there have been no changes to this document from previous years. And once the board approves it, then I can have Dr. Shook sign it after the meeting tonight.
Any questions or comments about this MOU? I'll entertain a motion that we enter into this Memorandum of Understanding between Clay County Communities for Students and Clay County Board of Education.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second it.
Ms. Beck, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is the 2021-2022 CTE application.
Members of the board, I shared this CTE local application with you a few weeks ago so that you would have plenty of time to read it because it's about 100 pages long. I appreciate you taking the time to do that.
108, I think.
108 pages. Thank you, Dr. Shook. And I just want to let all of you know that that is not by my choice. That is the federal government at work. And CTE is a federal program. They put together the software and the template, and we have to plug in the information for our plan, and the document length is what it is. So it's a lot of information, and I think that we have improved our CTE program over the last year. This local application just kind of gives the details of the direction that we're trying to take things. I was glad that the Chamber of Commerce was represented in public comment tonight because that is one of the areas I was able to meet the new chairman of the Chamber of Commerce by attending the last Rotary Club meeting at Truett. And so one of the things she said she had 300 members. Well, we've got 347 high school students. I'd love to have a student intern in every one of those 300 businesses. And that's what we want to work towards because our students are going to learn, so much more about success after school by also not only learning in our CTE program and our academic courses in our schools, but then also getting actual job experience in the job that they may be interested in. And so, that's one of the goals, is building work-based learning opportunities for our students. And that was a great first step that she came and spoke with us today. But I need approval for this application.
So obviously we've had time to look over that, so I'll entertain a motion that we approve the CTE application.
Make a motion that we approve.
Mr. Jones?
I'll second
Ms. Crawford, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next is the Clay County Schools Strategic Plan for the years 2021 through 2026.
That document is also in your packet, looks like so. And this document I shared with you back in April, and we've had a couple of months to take feedback and look over it. And this sets our course for decision making for the next 5 years. That's the idea, is to put in writing our motto, our values, the beliefs that we have that align with those values. The next page takes a look at our vision for Clay County Schools and how it aligns with the State Board of Education's vision for public schools in North Carolina. I will say, if you'll notice over there on the right in sort of purple pink, suggestions and feedback, we did get a suggestion to shorten our vision to make it a little easier to remember. There are two ways you can go with vision statements. You can add a little more detail to be more specific and thereby know if you've achieved that vision or not 5 years from now. But then another way is to make it shorter and a little easier to remember, so that people can hopefully walk around with the knowledge of what our vision is in their head and just make it easier to remember. So this was the one suggestion as far as vision that I got, was instead of saying, in Clay County Schools, we envision providing educational environments of the highest quality, created by professionals of the highest quality, leading to all students learning at high levels, and culminating in every student graduating on time, prepared for their next step. So that was the initial vision statement that we had. I did get the suggestion to change the vision to high quality learning environments, high quality professionals, high quality learning at all levels. It just kind of depends on, what kind of vision statement you want to have. I like it. I think they're both great. It's just kind of a philosophical idea of what you think a vision statement ought to be. But I don't know if anyone wants to share any thoughts on that or not, of which one you like. We have one right now, but obviously, before we voted, we could elect to go with the other if you like that better. They essentially say the same thing. One is just a little more detailed than the other.
Comments, thoughts?
So let's say, as far as academics, we want to see them excel. But let's say a kid is going into the workforce. I kind of feel like we should also, have both in there.
Yeah, I mean, so you can say, well, high quality learning at all levels. Learning, whether it's in a CTE classroom or whatever, is learning. I get that.
Yeah.
But then there's something to be said for being specific about, we want them to graduate on time, prepared for the next step of their choosing, whatever that may be. If that's being an electrician, or being a truck driver, or going to be a dentist, or a doctor, whatever it may be. So,
I kind of like the vision statement being a little bit longer and thorough, and the mission statement being a little
Shorter.
Yes, that's kind of my.
is there agreement?
I like the more detailed version personally. I'm fine with either one of them, but I definitely like the more detailed version.
Okay. All right. Then skipping over to the mission, kind of the same sort of thing. You'll see the mission that we have decided upon as a leadership team was the mission of Clay County Schools is to build and maintain learning environments of the highest quality that ensure our students achieve their potential and realize their visions for their own futures. So specifically, that's our mission every day that we're working towards. a suggestion for feedback was, what if you change that to, our mission is to build high-quality learning environments that ensure all students learn at high levels. Which again would be a shorter version. I didn't want to shortchange the feedback that we got, so.
I don't like the short version on that one.
Okay.
That's just mine.
I'm fine with the short version on that too.
So the mission of Clay County Schools is to build high-quality learning environments that ensure all students learn at high levels.
That's it.
Okay. And fix the typo in environments.
Do you have feedback?
Is everybody okay with that change? All right, make a note of that. And there were no areas of feedback for our goals and objectives. So I will take that to mean that everybody feels good about those after 2 months. So that would be, if approved tonight, with that change for the motto. If approved, that would be our strategic plan for the next 5 years. Now, of course, we can adjust our strategic plan as we go along, as we achieve things. But this at least gives us something in writing to follow with our work, which is very important.
That's good. Good work.
Nice framework. So any other questions or comments about the strategic plan? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the strategic plan as was discussed with the changes that were noted by Mr. Cole.
Sorry.
No, you can go ahead. I'll make a motion to approve
Crawford
the
makes a
strategic plan.
motion,
And I'll second
Ms.
it.
Beck second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And next we have the math curriculum.
So very quickly, this will be a lot shorter. Again, on the left side, on your left side, members of the board, we have all of the samples that include the new math curriculum for grades 3 through 8. This is a match for the curriculum that we implemented this year in grades K through 2. We received no negative feedback on the math curriculum. So I would ask that the board approve this curriculum after 2 weeks of public review and input, so that we can be ready to order materials as soon as we get a budget on July 1st.
So, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the Ready Classroom math curriculum for grades K through 8.
I'll make a motion that we approve the curriculum.
Ms. Beck,
I'll second it.
Ms. Crawford, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And just real quick before Ms. Hollingsworth comes, while she gets prepared, you'll notice on the far right, we have another math curriculum for public comment and review. That is for math 1, 2, and 3. So that is a high school math curriculum selected after a rigorous review by our math department at the high school that they would like to implement this year. This would also include digital textbooks. So all students would receive a digital textbook that they could access from their Chromebooks, and each classroom would get a set of 30, I think it's either 25 or 30 textbooks, hard copy textbooks that they would have on hand. So if we had a student that had a problem with the internet at the time, we could check a book out to them as needed. Or if the power went out or something like that and we needed to finish class, we'd have enough books to finish math class. But of course, we want to post that for at least a couple of weeks. We're going to have it in here for a month, obviously. So board members, you can come and check that out too. And hopefully we will have no negative feedback and we'll be ready to vote on implementing or approving the high school math curriculum at the July board meeting.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Ms. Hollingsworth.
Okay, I've got several things this evening. I think we're going to go ahead and start with the budget amendments for the year. These will be our last budget amendments for this fiscal year. If you'll notice on the State Public School Fund, we are budgeting an additional $13,659. That's for longevity, annual leave, bonus leave payouts. We were able to get a more clear figure after we finalized that final payroll on how much we needed for the annual leave payouts with the different separations from employment. So we needed additional monies there, and that is a guaranteed allotment. Anybody paid from state, they do give us the funds back in return to pay out those payouts. And then an additional $1,165 in the transportation allotment, and that was for the early college, second semester, and then a use tax distribution. The rest of the changes that you'll notice, those are just changes within those budgeted categories. We already had funds budgeted in the different line items, but we just need to shift those around according to what the actual expenses were, so we are aligned with the DPI chart of accounts. Okay. On the second one, we have the local current expense fund. No additional monies will be budgeted there for the year. We still end the year with $1,754,884. Now, we did need to do some of those changes that we did for the state fund. Of course, you know, we present a plan at the beginning of the year, and as things change during the year, we do have to adjust as needed. So that's to finish up those adjustments and to align us with the DPI chart of accounts. For the federal grants fund, we did budget an additional $4,248,458. Those are allocations for the ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funds. Those are the CARES Act money that we had to hurry and get those plans in back in May. The budgets were finally approved, so we need to add those to the budget. And then we had a few other federal allotment adjustments. It was just a difference in what the original anticipated allocations were and what they ended up being. So that was a reduction of $1,891.04. The other changes you see there were some minor shifts between the purpose codes, but the majority of that is to budget for the additional $4.2 million. And then on the last page, we have Fund 8, which is the other specific revenue fund. We did need to budget an additional $259,421.31. I've got those listed down at the bottom. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services issued a cost settlement for fiscal years 19 and 20. That was an additional $173,544.58. We had an additional $48,596.97 in Medicaid administrative claims we needed to budget. Pre-K snacks, we do collect monies for that during the year, $750. Region A Partnership for Children, there was an additional $2,383 for the Parents as Teacher grant. We received an additional $26,471.50. That was for child care bonuses released from the DCDEE, which is a state agency that is involved with NC Pre-K and Head Start. And that was for, again, CARES Act monies, and they got bonuses for doing the daycare program. And NC Pre-K was also included in that because they are part of that licensed program. $5,200 is the funds that we needed to go ahead and budget and get on the books for payments we made for the athletic programs through our payroll. So they reimburse us those funds, but we do have to budget those expenditures. And then an additional $2,475.26 in miscellaneous revenue. And then there were some other shifts that we needed to make some corrections to align expenses with the DPI chart of accounts. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Hollingsworth. So if there's not any questions, I'll entertain a motion that we accept the budget amendments as presented.
Motion to accept the budget.
Mr. Jones, second.
I'll second it.
Respect, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next we have the interim budget resolution, right?
Okay, we need to go ahead and pass the interim budget resolution so we're able to continue operations into the new school year before we get the actual final budget when it's passed by the state. So I'm going to just read that real fast. Be it resolved by the Clay County Board of Education that interim appropriations be made available for the purpose of paying salaries and the usual and customary expenses of Clay County schools for the period beginning, and that actually should say July 1st, 2021, until adoption of the 21-22. I think I printed the wrong one. Budget resolution pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 115C-434. Interim appropriations so made or expended shall be charged to the proper appropriations in the budget resolution, passed by majority vote of the Clay County Board of Education on the 28th day of June, 2021. I think I printed the wrong copy.
If you would.
I will print a new
Print a
one.
new copy so that we
We
can get a
will.
signature.
I'll do that as soon as we go into closed session.
So we heard the interim budget resolution, something we do every year, waiting on the state to pass their budget. So I'll entertain a motion that we approve the interim budget resolution.
I make a motion to approve the copy that we'll get with the appropriate
For the
dates.
21-22.
I will give each of you a copy of the correct.
Thank you.
I'll
So,
second it.
okay, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hollingsworth. And insurance renewals is next, right? Yes.
Okay, so that was a 3-page document. I'm not gonna go over everything. I'm gonna just hit the highlights for this. Our insurance for the upcoming 2021-22 school year. We have errors and omissions, general liability. Our carrier for that is the North Carolina School Boards Trust. The premium for the upcoming school year will be $2,083. That's only a $24 increase over last year. Then we've got automobile liability, physical damage, and again, our carrier is the North Carolina School Boards Trust. The premium for the upcoming year is $7,224, and that is up $719 over last year. But you have to remember we did add a brand new Dodge van to that last year, and then we also added coverage for the golf cart that's being used on campus. Property insurance, our carrier for that is the North Carolina Department of Insurance, the Office of State Fire Marshal. That premium is $18,321. That is up $3,407 over last year. We did add the primary building and the contents in the middle of the year last year, so that drove us up just a little bit in what we had originally anticipated last year, and then now we've got a full year of that cost, and that's for the building and the contents. Then we have cyber liability. We anticipate that our carrier will be Cowbell Cyber Insurance. Our broker for that is Surrey Insurance. And you'll notice that that's up to $14,759 this year. That's an increase of $6,268 over last year. But the reason for this increase is, of course, you all know the increased risk of cyber security worldwide, not just in the United States. And then one example of that is what just happened with the Colonial Pipeline when we had the gas shortage. Ransomware attacks are up. They are at a record high. We also had to go through a pretty rigorous application process. Mr. Jeffries and I had to meet with our broker representative and go through an application process, and then they put it out there to different carriers to get us the best rate that we can get. So we think that Cowbell Cyber is going to be that carrier. Then we have workers' comp insurance, and that is with EMC Insurance. Surrey Insurance is also the broker for that insurance coverage. We're up to $14,566 for our premium for 21-22. That's a $2,611 increase over last year, and that's due to the increase in projected payroll based on positions that we're gonna be funding over the next few years out of the ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funds. So we do have to have additional workers' comp coverage for any federal funded positions.
One thing I will add, members of the board, to our property insurance is just that we've completed an update for all of our fire alarm systems, except the Hayesville Middle School gym. We're missing one part that hasn't come in yet. Once that part comes in, we'll be able to bring that fire alarm system online. But other than the middle school gym, every one of our building fire alarms now are monitored 24/7 by a third-party company, so that if it's set off, the fire department and 911 immediately know about it, which improves response times, which is one of the indicators that the insurance companies use to decide whether or not they lower our interest rate or not. It's one of multiple factors, so I can't guarantee that it'll make our insurance cheaper, but I'm hopeful that it will. Either way, it does give us the opportunity to maybe, God forbid, if we do have a fire one weekend or something, it'll give us a better chance of saving our building.
Very good. So you've heard the district insurance renewals from Ms. Hollingsworth, and I'll entertain a motion that we approve those.
Make a motion to approve.
Mr. Jones,
I'll second it.
Ms. Beck, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Hollingsworth. Next, we have approval of the consent agenda. So I'll entertain a motion that we approve the consent agenda as it was presented in email.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Ms. Beck, I'll second.
I'll second it.
Ms. Crawford, all in favor? Thank you. And next, I will entertain a motion that we go into closed session for negotiations and personnel.
Motion to go into closed session.
Mr. Jones, second.
I'll second it.
Ms. Beck, all in favor? Thank you.